The Galactic Coalition's training facility orbited Zenthar Prime, a gleaming station where the brightest military cadets from across civilized space learned the art of interstellar warfare. Among them, two humans stood out, not for their excellence, but for their very existence. Elena had skin the color of burnt sienna and eyes that reflected starlight like polished obsidian. She moved through the zero-gravity combat drills with an unsettling grace that made her instructors nervous. Nicholas, her closest friend, was lankier, with copper hair and an easy smile that had won over half their cohort despite the widespread mistrust of Deathworlders. Earth had only joined the Coalition 3 cycles ago, and humans remained in curiosity, a species that had evolved on a planet so hostile that most delegates required protective suits just to visit the surface. Gravity that crushed, an atmosphere that corroded, predators that evolved alongside them in an endless arms race of survival. The training accident happened during a routine hand-to-hand combat exercise. Elena had been in the observation deck, reviewing tactical scenarios with Lieutenant Veshkara, when the alarm pierced the recycled air. Through the transparent aluminum, she watched Nicholas spar with Commander Thexulan, a Crithian warrior whose species had dominated Coalition combat rankings for 2 centuries. The Crithian stood nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms ending in chitinous blades and an exoskeleton that could deflect plasma rounds. The match should have been supervised, should have had safety protocols, should have ended when Nicholas signaled submission. It didn't. Elena's hands pressed against the viewport as Thexulan's third arm struck Nicholas's ribs with a sickening crack that echoed even through the reinforced glass. The human crumpled, and still the Crithian continued, a demonstration, he would later claim, of how soft Deathworlders truly were when removed from their savage planet. By the time Elena reached the training floor, medics were carrying Nicholas away on a hover stretcher. His face was pale beneath the oxygen mask, one arm hanging at an unnatural angle. Their eyes met for just a moment, and she saw the apology there, as if he had somehow failed by bleeding. An unfortunate miscalculation, Commander Thexulan announced to the assembled cadets, his mandibles clicking with satisfaction. Let this be a lesson. Deathworld origin means nothing against proper training and superior biology. Elena said nothing. She simply turned and walked away, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. The Coalition had rules about interpersonal violence, protocols, chains of command. Elena had memorized them all during her first week aboard the station, the way she'd memorized everything that might keep her and Nicholas alive in a galaxy that viewed them as aggressive primitives. She followed none of them. 12 hours later, Elena found Commander Thexulan in the officers' recreation sector. He was holding court among junior officers, recounting his lesson to the human cadet with dramatic flourishes. The Crethian noticed her approach and turned, amusement glittering in his compound eyes. "Ah, the other Deathworlder. Come to lodge a formal complaint? I assure you all protocols were—" Elena's movement was liquid mercury, impossibly fast. Before Thexulan could finish his sentence, she had closed the distance and locked her hands around his second right arm, the one that had broken Nicholas's ribs. What happened next would be analyzed in Coalition tactical databases for decades. Crithian exoskeletons could withstand pressures of up to 4,000 pounds per square inch. Earth's gravity at sea level exerted 14.7 pounds per square inch, a crushing force that had shaped every cell in Elena's body since birth. Her muscles were dense cables of fiber designed to fight that gravity every moment of every day. Her bones were reinforced with mineral deposits that made them stronger than most species' armor. The arm came free with a sound like cracking ice. Thexulan's scream was a frequency that shattered drinking glasses across 3 tables. He collapsed, hemolymph spurting from the socket where his limb had been. Elena stood over him, still holding the severed arm, her expression calm as a mirror lake. "You hurt my friend," she said simply. "In my culture, there are consequences." Security forces arrived within minutes, weapons drawn. Elena didn't resist. She let the arm fall to the deck with a wet thud and raised her hands, still stained with alien blood. The tribunal took place 3 days later. Elena stood in the defendant's circle, facing a panel of coalition judges from 7 different species. The charges were severe: assault on a superior officer, unauthorized combat, violations of station protocol. The recommended sentence was expulsion and a permanent ban from coalition space. Then Nicholas limped into the chamber, his ribs still wrapped in regeneration mesh. "Permission to address the tribunal," he said, his voice hoarse but steady. What followed was a defense that would become required study in coalition diplomatic academies. Nicholas spoke of Earth's culture of loyalty, of the bonds forged in survival against impossible odds. He presented evidence of Thexulan's history, 17 prior training accidents, all involving cadets from species deemed inferior. He quoted coalition law, chapter and verse, demonstrating how the commander had violated every protocol he'd claimed to follow. But mostly, he spoke about what it meant to be human. "We come from a world that tried to kill us every day," Nicholas said, meeting each judge's eyes in turn. "We learned to protect each other or die. When you hurt one of us, you hurt all of us. That's not savagery, that's survival. That's why we're still here." The tribunal deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, the verdict was unprecedented. Elena would be placed on probation, assigned to advanced combat instruction, and given a formal commendation for demonstrating the practical applications of Deathworld evolutionary advantages in close-quarters combat. Commander Thexulan was dishonorably discharged. As they left the chamber, Nicola bumped Elena's shoulder with his own, grinning despite the pain it caused. "Next time, maybe just file a report?" Elena's lips curved into something that might have been a smile. "Where's the lesson in that?" Behind them, the severed arm remained in evidence storage, a reminder to the Galactic Coalition that humanity had not clawed its way to the stars by following anyone else's rules. They were Deathworlders, and they protected their own. The end.